So what we're going to do is go on with the first report. So the first report that has gotten into the top 3 comes from 𝗪𝗏 𝗪𝗏. So okay, congratulations on getting here. Let's open up the report and take a closer look at it. So Erik, maybe you want to go ahead and comment on this one first.
Yeah, I had another.
No worries.
So I just have to find my notes. First of all, I like the calmness, and typically I'm not a fan. I am not a fan. I know there are others of a sort of a dark mode report. But so I like the brighter colors, but I like the contrast in here. I like the left alignment of almost all visuals have a left alignment of the titles, not the donuts. The KPI cards is nicely aligned to the left, so it gives an overview. I was a bit you have to select a period in order to get information about versus previous month. And that was sort of, we could have perhaps started with the selection of December, so you had sort of an indication of the change versus last month. And perhaps, I know the data is of course very limited in this case, so perhaps another KPI instead of the percentage change, because we are looking at comparing Christmas with the Black Friday, where we can see some serious spikes, of course, compared to the previous months. I think the labeling of the Pareto chart at the bottom, I think perhaps you should avoid the data labels and highlight where the 80% is hit instead. And or if you want the labels, then use fewer decimals. Whether it's 84.12%, that actually doesn't matter. So limit the number of decimals. The waterfall chart to the right. As when I looked at the total, I said, "Oh, that's a very nice profit on our sales, right?" But that is actually not the profit, right?
Yep.
That's the little green one to the left. So we should probably have removed the total bar in the waterfall. But I like the waterfall that you can see where where you spend the money and get at the end. I also like the KPI selector above the trend line.
This one, yep.
Yeah, that you can change it by this. You could. I have started, in order to make it easier to do touch, use buttons instead. So now you have to click twice to select. But if you use buttons, you could easily change the measure used, right? Yeah, that was. And I like when you hover over the elements of the buttons, that it change colors, so it's visible for the user that something will happen when you click on this one.
Okay. Thank you.
For any other pages?
Well, even though I come from the Excel world, I'm not a fan of tables and matrices in.
That is a first.
And you should also consider the alignment of the numbers, right? You should never, at least my opinion, you should right align and then perhaps add some padding that moves it a little left for the grid line, right? And also remember to right align your titles in the matrix as well.
Yeah. This one?
Yeah. the return rate, it sort of confused me a little bit that you had two KPI cards at the top right, which indicates what is the actual return rate and the target for a return rate, right?
Yeah.
That is sort of not, my immediate, when I looked at it, oh, the 5% is good, yes, but that's actually the target. So how do we show that we are actually way above our target? So I would probably merge them together and visualize that in another way, that perhaps bullet chart or whatever.
Or even keep just a KPI card, do some conditional formatting, whether it's good or bad, and give like an information icon or something to explain that the target was not supposed to overreach 5% or something like that.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Because otherwise, this doesn't change anyways, right? It's always going to be the same. So it feels like it's just a little bit of wasted space.
Yeah. And some of the figures in the matrix below is actually, there's a difference between whether they are centered aligned or right aligned, right?
Yeah, here, for example. And then suddenly everything goes centered.
Yeah. And then what does the color actually mean, right? Is late good or whatever? And perhaps there's I saw that you can actually, there are also some segments that it's used in another. So I'm sort of missing the insights of why are people returning and who are actually returning the goods. I can perhaps drill down to the elements, but it's not a focus in it. It might be on the sales challenge performance. There's some customer segmentation there. Net profit by segment, right?
Yeah.
That's sort of, when I saw that, oh, who is actually buying our goods? Is it our loyalty, and who is returning? That was sort of like, oh, where can I find that? And I have to do some clicking in order to find the information. So perhaps a quadrant analysis of who's actually returning goods, and we are making money of them. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
No, I agree with everything that you said. A few things that stood out for me a little bit is similar how you mentioned the Pareto chart. So what I would have done is, if you really want to have these labels, even with a single decimal, I would most likely try to kind of glue them to the top, for example, so they all have the same position, but it's not on top of the chart. So you have a reference for it. The color indicates that it's coming from the Pareto line, but it's not on top of the chart. Because remember, these column heights and everything, they can change dynamically based on different scenarios. So if these numbers are starting to overlap with the top values and everything, at some point it might start to look a little bit weird. So it's something to just consider. The waterfall, it was a nice catch as well. Remember, guys, the fact that it just gives you the total doesn't always mean that you need to have it there.
No.
Double check what you have created, if it makes sense, and if you understand whether it's valuable or not. If it's not, then try to figure out, can you get rid of it? Because sometimes there are certain things where you kind of get the result and there's nothing you can really do about it unless you create a disconnected table and just fixate the specific numbers. There are cases like that. But yeah, that goes for that. For the donut charts, like you mentioned as well, the titles, if everything is left aligned, it felt like this is kind of missed point. But the one good thing I liked is that you kind of separated everything into different blocks of where I can play around with things. That I'm okay with. The navigation itself is good, no issues with that. What I would have done here, what Erik mentioned, for example, so you don't have these little red lines, is, and not just have the timeline, but for example also have the slicer with the relative date. And that slicer could have been used, for example, not necessarily as a direct filter for the timeline as well, but only as a reference point for the comparison, whether I'm comparing to the last month, whether it's the last actual month, or whatever it is. So that's an alternative route that you can kind of pursue or try out sometimes. Here, the one thing that I'm not a fan of is the styling of the unselected button. It feels like it kind of disappears a little bit. It should have been more aligned with the overall design of everything else. But other than that, I'm okay with everything here. The fulfillment and returns, the table, this is something that me and Federico have told you guys hundreds of times, right? A table shouldn't have a conditional formatting for every single column. It's just too much. It also, because if you're doing this also gives the indication to the end user that nothing is really important, everything's important, right? If
Yeah.
everything's important, then again, nothing's important. So what am I supposed to focus on here? What's the main thing that I need to look at? Sure, there's a lot of variables, but I need to have one thing that I'm trying to answer with this page. And a very small little detail, but be respectful to the logos. So if you are using logos with the background or without the background, make sure it's consistent.
And really use logos in a table with great care, right? Or images.
Yeah, oh yeah. Trust me, we're not going to complain now, but if they see this, yeah, with these things, you got to be a little bit careful. For the comparisons, yeah, like I said, probably would have made it at least a conditional formatting so I can understand whether I'm good or bad. And the trickiest thing here is from the way on how you read the information. If you still want to kind of have these two, you don't want to move away from it, I would put the target first and then show the actual. The reason for it is I kind of want to understand what I'm supposed to get to and where I am currently.
I do not agree.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
I like it first, and I would mention the diff to the target and color that instead. But
it's the perfect opportunity for a bullet chart. You say how much is your, and you got your target, and you reach your target, you pass your target, or you are behind your target. It's as simple as that. But I only got one thing. You go to the first page.
Going to the first page.
And the color palette is purple. I understand that we have a waterfall. It has to be red on green, but then we have the label. We have positive and negative, red and green. I think you can play with different kind of color that match better the color palette, and at the same time indicating to me, okay, this positive and that is negative. It breaks that green and red in there. It breaks, and because you went dark mode. To work with table is very difficult because you go a white mask on a table. Then you have to start giving color to that table to actually go to the second page.
Yep, to the table.
Okay, you have to giving color to the table, and you have now black for one side, you go white for another side, the total is white, and then you have the purple for the total revenue. That problem is because you went dark mode. So you were kind of forced somehow to highlight those in a style that doesn't need this highlighting. That is my view. And I don't know that gray in changing the button. Again, we are purple and black. I don't know the gray. Why the gray? Why don't I like purple? Okay, you start light, darker, and the darkest purple when you are selecting that. So that's my opinion.
Yeah. The one thing that I just noticed, and be very cautious about this, is if you are using red and green as an indicator for good or bad, make sure it's the same color across the board. Because what I started to notice here when Federico started to talk about it, this red right here isn't the same as red one here, or vice versa. If I go to the, and I think upwards arrow was the same color. Yeah, upwards is the same, but the downwards color is more with a higher contrast. So for example, if I select from December, so I can actually compare.
No.
Oh, come on. I know it's Friday, but come on.
It's not performing very well. You can see the small Yeah,
the gears rolling. Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, this is what I was talking about. You can see it's clearly completely different shade of red.
Red, yeah.
They are actually not using the new KPI card. Instead, they're
Yes, yeah.
having separate visuals. That should be avoided as well, because now you have many visuals on your page, right?
Yeah, with the reference values and everything, because the way it's going to allow you to do it, it's just going to be a lot faster because it's a single visual that has to capture the filter, and it can actually display it a lot faster.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it's a good report. It has gotten into the top 3, so congratulations for that. I think we can move on to the next one.
Yes, we spent a lot of time in this one.
All right, going to the next one. So the next report that has gotten itself into the top 3, it moved the wrong page around, this one. So the next report comes from Nina Ikpe. So Nina, congratulations in getting into yet another top. You're on a roll, right, lately.
Nina is in a roll, yeah.
I mean, if it works, right?
Okay, if you don't mind, I'm gonna comment on color palette, design, blah blah, and I leave the numbers and the complication for you and Erik. Nina, I was mentioning to the thing here that layout is in Jai Park all the way, and one of his report, and I told it before in another place. So great idea. You now have 4 horizontal boxes or vertical boxes that you can. I know I'm talking about revenue, unit sold, profit margin, marketing, spend, and alignment. Fantastic. Okay, distribution within the boxes. Fantastic. Okay, everything, even the title to the number. Okay, there is a good space. It's not clunky or all together. Congratulations on that. For me, it's very easy to know that we are in performance. And one of the buttons I most use is just putting a line below. Okay. Color palette is lovely. I like purples. I don't know why you decide, because marketing Spain, to go for the lipstick here on the columns, on the line. Yeah, that one at the bottom. But I leave that decision for you. Go to the second page.
Yep.
Okay, here we have an excellent example of what we were talking about, the target and reaching the target with the bullet.
Yep.
Again, alignment, distribution. Got this one at the bottom, the shipment delivery by warehouse. We have too much space between columns. Put a little bit together. I also like to leave a little bit of space, but not too much that they look like not a group, but they look individual columns. Okay. Erik mentioned it before about the alignment in tables and matrices. Remember, text go to the left, number go to the right, and if you want to put something in the middle, will be something that will tell you I belong to the 2 columns before. You have this year revenue, last year revenue, and then the percentage difference. That can be in the middle. Otherwise, respect, okay, the alignment of columns in the tables. That's it. The third one is also quite nice and little. Well, I noticed before, if I click in the green, click on a green thing. Yeah, see what happened? Yeah, I knew that. Yes, okay. I knew that. Long time in, I didn't do that. I knew that. Remember, we need to change filtering interaction and cross-filtering interaction. Because that happens when you select one point, everything that is not related to that is going to disappear. Okay, and it is related, it's only one point that you have selected, so it's only going to show one point of data. That for me, I really like the report. And I'm talking about from the design point of view. Fantastic entry. Thank you, Nina.
Yeah, great. Erik?
Yeah, I like the calmness of the report. One thing that is bothering my eyes is the background. If you zoom in on the background, you'll see it's sort of very.
It's a pattern, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pattern. So that, with my old eyes, apparently, it sort of affects. So keep it the gray color in one,
flat.
so it's completely flat. That will make me focus even more on the 4 boxes. Now, one thing that I notice is that we have a nice campaign in each the donuts, but if I filter on holiday on the first one, it doesn't filter on the rest.
I'll quickly reload it.
Yeah.
Too much zooming in and out.
Yeah.
So if I filter out holiday, it's gonna only work on this one.
Yeah. So I would have expected that as to filter the rest as well, right? Then and then also the marketing spend versus revenue. I like bullet charts, but it's sort of exactly the same amount for the green target and the bullet. There might be a small data modeling issue around that. I would. I'm not sure whether the average lines in the by category, what value does it bring to the user? Actually, you both have a coloring of the highest, and you have an average line, but what? Yeah, okay. I have 4 categories that are above average, but yeah. Is it really needed? Question mark. It could be that, yeah. Perhaps for it's funny that the categories have exactly the same order of. The category that's grocery. It is different.
Yeah, a little bit.
But unit sold and profit margin have the same categories.
Yeah.
Well, no, they change. I slightly change.
Yeah. But if I know that if that's not the purpose of this page to show which categories we have the highest profit and sales in, but that will be hard to determine by doing this, right? Because I would have to find the beauty is not visible in the first one, but it's units sold a lot, and then now it's the most important, and then in profit margin it's also the highest, right? So yeah, you might consider that. Now we discussed the target and the actual value in the last report as well. And so if you look at the late delivery, by my immediate look, I would say, are we over target, or are we are we red, or are we green, right? First of all, the target value, the indicator is red, right? So if I only look at the red bar, I would say, oh, I'm not on target, not on time delivery as well, right? Perhaps. And I'm not too sure that the shipment delay severity should have. I like the stacked, but I don't like the rounded corners. I don't like it, right? It does make sense in a stacked bar chart, in my opinion. And the percentages in the stacked is actually not 100%.
It's a cumulative percentage. So what it does is it calculates basically going up in steps. So these 2 are 15, these 3 are 23, this is 31, which in some cases might work, but I agree in this one it confuses you even more.
Yeah.
Okay. For the last page, any other comments?
On the last page, that was nope, not really.
Okay. A few things that I noticed.
Oh, sorry, I had one.
Sure,
I like the label at the top, period covered, so it's visible what you actually work on. But the location of the label is in a different location on the pages. That should be
bottom here, top
in the same
here,
place.
and then it's right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the first things that I noticed as well, and I can tell you easily why I'm noticing this, because this is the one thing that our design team kind of beat out of me, right? If there are certain things, they have to be in the same place, otherwise it's just triggering people.
Yes.
So
our OCDs. Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Trust me, spend enough time with Power BI, you're gonna develop one as well.
And
yeah.
I also believe that I think it's on page 2 or 3 that you should consider when to use the donut charts, right?
Yep.
Because the shipment by perhaps not that, but on page 3, I think there's a thing where I would have used a bar chart instead. For instance, the purchase channel distribution, right? The bottom left one.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
I would have also went with a bar chart here, mainly for the reason that you have to think about how much space you have allocated in the design. So having just a small donut feels like you squeezed it in at the very last moment just because I had the data, so I wanted to showcase it somehow. If you would have had it just like a bar chart right here, it would have felt more unanimized in the style, because you have columns here, you have bars here, everything feels okay. It kind of fits nice and neatly, right?
Yeah.
Whereas a donut chart, the tricky part about a donut chart is it's never really a straight square. It's more of a rectangle, where donut chart kind of has enough placement for labels and everything. So it's very tricky to put it in a very small space. That's one of the things. And plus, where everything is kind of the same, our eyes cannot perceive any difference here. It's impossible. This is one of those cases where donut chart wouldn't be the greatest option. The few other things that I noticed, most of them are just very small little things, right? The period cover, that's one of the things that I noticed. The other thing is the detail label connector lines. If everything else is going sort of in the style of smoothed, rounded corners and everything, it felt very weird that you decided to go with the angled connectors. It just felt like, I'm going to go with everything going the same way, but here, this one's going to be completely different. And the funny thing is that this is not the default value, so you explicitly decided to go this way. But yeah, it's a very minor detail, right? To change this is 2-second work. So
yeah, good catch.
What else with this one? All right, guys, it's been enough time, right? When it started off, I was okay with it, but enough is enough. If you don't have a particular reason why you're highlighting just the top, and especially if the chart is going to already be sorted by value, there's absolutely zero reason to highlight the max value. I know it's max, it's the first thing. If you would have sorted it based on an alphabet, and I have to quickly find the highest point, makes sense. Same as here, for example. Sure, here you just have one peak, so it's very easy to spot, but if you have a lot of data points on a timeline, it makes sense to highlight the top and bottom. Understandable. Alphabetical, I understand it. But if the chart is sorted by value, the top value is always going to be the first one. There's no reason to highlight it even kind of more, right? Done here is kind of combine what Erik said and what I'm saying, right? You decide to keep that average line, then use conditional formatting to kind of highlight it straight away. No, go with the same approach, the darker and the lighter part, and just showcase to me which categories are above the average and which ones are below, so I can kind of quickly orientate how many in particular categories are, revenue is above the average, profit is above the average, so can kind of indicate some additional info in it. But yeah, that's the one thing. Going to the second pages, it's a good approach, but I think the design wise here, this could be done a little bit better, because it's kind of hard to read it straight away. And the second part is for these two, I'm kind of missing the number. Here I see SLA target 95%, SLA target 5%, SLA target is something, right? So consistency. Even either you don't show anywhere, you just give me a reference line, I'm fine with that as well. I would probably say that I would also love to see the value, but it's better not to than to kind of mix and match these sort of approaches, one or the other, whether you show the value with the line or you don't show the value with the line. So that goes for that. For this one, since the value is essentially a combined value, I would have just used the stacked. The rounding I would have removed as well, because I don't think in this chart you're comparing one segment versus the other. I kind of want to understand, okay, how much actually shipments were delivered in total, and how is it being segregated into different groups. Field parameter switches, good. I like that you put it in the box of the timeline, so kind of explicitly to indicate that this is only going to change this chart. It's not for the whole page, so it kind of sticks to where it belongs to. So that's good. For the returns, this one I was okay with. The only thing that I don't know how I feel about this, right? I would probably play around with a bit more, but you can see here, for example, we have the timeline, right? And you have the reference weeks. If I start to go to the second or the third page, the KPI cards are smaller, but the lines also don't have the reference anymore. So what's happening is I kind of have to guess whether it's talking about the same approach of weeks or is it some other parameter being used on the x-axis. It's I know I'm kind of picking little things now, but you know, somebody has to do it.
Yeah, go for it. But I think we need to move to the net report. Yeah. We are a bit short time.
But yeah, other than that, it is an amazing report. It's very well created. The layout is good. The spacing is good. The overall design is good. So congratulations on getting into the top three. Yeah, too many challenges. All right. So the next report that has gotten itself into the top 3 comes from 𝗪𝗵𝗁. Hopefully I didn't butcher it. Let's open it up and take a closer look. So yeah, for this one, the first thing that I noticed, and this is something that I've had said also multiple times, the first thing I noticed is going to be the KPI cards because they're at the top, right? If you have KPI cards, the first thing you need to pay attention to is, of course, the color itself as well. Why is this? So this is probably the main one. Okay, fine with it. Same importance. Then these ones are red. Okay, I get that it's the money that we're kind of refunding and losing, but at the same time, is it something that we were expecting, not expecting? Like, doesn't necessarily mean that it's outside of norms, right? The other thing, the number formatting. Please, guys, if you have thousands, add the little thousand separator. It makes a lot of difference. So that goes for that. And one thing that I can tell everybody, be careful with the new image visual, the sort of enhanced visual for images that Power BI recently released, right? And I can tell you why. By default, you're changing the default settings, but this image now has a new sort of setting group called all. Instead of default, it's called all. So you can kind of control for everything the same, right? The reason why I'm saying this is because if you don't notice this and you just change the default, this is what you're getting for every single image in services. And it never stops.
Yeah. It's a dancing tree.
Exactly.
I thought it was by design, so
No, I'm okay with this when it comes to the tree, right? I didn't like this part. No, it's just something that we noticed as well. Is there's just a new setting group. So whenever you're using the image visual, make sure you're changing the all settings option, not the default one only. So it's just something to take care of. The waterfall, kind of fine with it. And here you can see it is a built different sort of waterfall. Instead of going with the gross profit and net profit, it actually showcases from the total revenue what's the net revenue. So this is fine. Here the total works. This one I'm okay with. Promotions, again, number formatting, right? Just to have it consistent and easier to read. And it gets even more painful when you see a mixed version of it, right? You have sort of 1,000 separators, you don't have 1,000 separators. Just a little bit of consistency. One thing that I noticed here was, I think there's a little bit of a misalignment with the data model. And the point where I noticed is, I think it was under net revenue. Let's go for holiday. Cross filters, okay. 506. Okay. Apparently I did something different last time. Because the KPI...
I think that if you choose the total orders, it shows you the same amount for all.
Let's see. Yeah, here.
Yeah.
So it should also be a
But
parameter, yeah.
Yeah.
But again, as far as these go as well, remember guys, you have multiple states. If you hold and click on it, you can see it's very small. It might have been intentional, but I don't think it's a great approach to make it unreadable, right? Maybe go the other way, make it more readable.
Yeah.
Fulfillment, numbers, separations with 1,000 decimals. Here, see, this would be the difference, right? If we, for example, were previously talking about not highlighting the highest value, here you can see that the first one is being highlighted. So this is fine because this is talking about those who are on time. So it's alphabetical. There's logic behind why it's kind of highlighted and why it's separating. These are all delayed. This is what's on time. The only thing that I would probably maybe play around with here is just the severity and kind of play around with how much of a sort of delay is there on it. So that's one thing. For the donut chart, again, falling into the same pitfall where every single slice is almost the same sort of comparison to everything. For us regular people, everybody basically, this is unreadable difference. You don't see the difference unless you very closely pay attention to those minimal angle changes basically. So a bar chart would have worked here better, which did feel a little bit weird because everything else was columns and bars, and then
Yeah.
for this page, this was fine. This was fine. Yeah, this was just a slicer. The only thing that I could, if I really wanted to pinpoint something else, was under the info overlay. I do realize that you would have to create a new overlay for the fourth page, but don't add elements which are not referencing that particular page. Here it works, but if I go, for example, let's say back to the first page, it feels weird that you're telling me, hey, by the way, on the fourth page there's going to be a slicer here. Unless there is something that currently explains to me any benefit, I don't need that information. Other than that, I think it's a good report. There are just some bits and pieces that you need to improve.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if it is me, but the corner of the logo are touching that round thing that you have there.
Yeah.
The product and return label is also touching the border, and you have a space. There is at least 40 pixels between that bar and the next visual. So you have room. Believe you me, they will notice, they will not like it, they will come back to you. And it's a very silly point for some client to come back to you. You should know better on that. Okay, I take some changes, so I prefer this to be shown in this visual that give me problems about alignment, distribution, and the rest. Go to the second page.
Yeah.
Well, in overall, you got some visual that have that straight rectangle curvature, and you have another that have a curve. And then if we go to net revenue by campaign, they are massive. No, that one on the left. I'm not a fan of big, massive, chunky, fatty columns. Okay, I will go a little bit thinner if I can. And if you go to the other page, Yeah, we got more fatty, okay, columns and bars in there. Minor things, okay. There are two in the two bar charts on the bottom. They are too close together. You can leave a little bit of separation by making them a little bit thinner.
Yeah, and the late delivery percentage by warehouse. You have to read. My first guess was actually it's week 0, week 05. So you have to read both.
Yeah, both sides.
Labels to understand that it.
Yeah, another thing, as Aivis said, and that in my personal view at work, here is that you have to put an information page for me to tell me how to use the report. I am starting with trouble because I know being able to clearly visualize what you need to see without me telling you how to do it. And I'm not going to be there all the time with you. I finish my report, pass it to the client, and see you later, alligator. That's it. Okay, so remember that is important. Okay, make sure that everything have a contrast. Okay, and that it can be easily read. I have mentioned many times before, for me, simplicity, okay, is the key of everything. And simplicity is not easiness. Okay, actually, to make something simple is very complicated. Yeah. But that for me is my philosophy. Okay, make it simple and easy to understand for the user without making major noise. That's me.
Okay, Erik, any other comments?
Yeah, well, I guess you can turn it off, the lineage way of changing your y-axis, because I believe in the data set that it's not relevant. It's not there, but on the last products and return, you can, in the first one, you have the lin option up to the right corner. I guess you can hide it. So yeah, please do. The navigation to the left, I agree with the button and product, etc. But I will also, and I think the icons are too big. You should minimize them so it doesn't steal the user's attention. In my opinion, and also add a hover effect when you when you run the mouse over. The title of omni-channel holiday retail sales is Times New Roman, right? So that should be, you should use the same font
as everything else,
as much as possible. Yeah. And the KPI cards, it looks like they are aligned and have the same spacing, but if you use PowerToys where you have a measurement tool, you will see that there are differences.
No, there is a difference between the 45,000 and the 30,000 and the others.
Yeah.
So for OCDs persons, I will notice things like and I believe there's also a chart on the last page where where the alignment has gone.
Oh yes, the bottom on the left.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to move.
But nice and calm, and not too much information on the pages. Perhaps typically you have a correlation between revenue and total sales. So perhaps a returns would be more interesting to add in the first chart to see whether there is a correlation between total sales and returns.
Yeah. The one thing that I forgot to mention, and this was, I don't think I'm going to be alone on this once I mention this, but the fact that I don't have any values on the y-axis kind of triggers me. And I'll explain to you why. The first reason why I didn't notice, I was like, okay, sure, I still have the trend line. At least I can get a tooltip, right?
Yeah.
there are no tooltips.
Tooltip.
So even if I highlight something, I'm just kind of left here with a selection of not knowing what exactly I have selected, what is the value that I have selected, what's the time frame. So
Yeah.
it's kind of tricky, right? Sure, I get the idea that you want to keep it simple, clean, and everything, but sometimes a little bit more is better.
No, pull label. You take off the A6, the way I pull labels on it.
Yeah,
If
and
not, yeah.
And especially since you have room, because every single visual you can see roughly around the container size, you have borders which are not being utilized. So you had room for those values for the y-axis. I would have put them there just so I can at least have at least the sort of min, average, max, just at least something so I can kind of understand where the ballpark is. But yeah, it's one another thing that I noticed.
Time
All
to
right.
go to another one.
For the top three, we can actually announce the winner.
Okay, the winner is, we can do the drums.
We can do the drums. I'm gonna quickly hide the screen. Alexander, can you help me with that a little bit? Disappear. I wanna. Yeah, there we go. I wanna get to the right report. All right, we can go back. So the winner of this month's challenge is. We now go live.
Come on, Alex.
There we go.
Yeah.
So for this month, Nina Ikba, in our overall sort of evaluation, you got the best report. Like we said, there are certain bits and pieces, and this is what we and me and Federico have always said. There's no such thing as a perfect report. There's always going to be things you can improve. There's always going to be things you can change and adjust. But nevertheless, it was an amazing report, well made analysis. So congratulations to you.
Congratulations, Nina. It's the second time you win the challenge. Next time, if I find a silly mistake from you, I will get your report off to the rubbish automatically. Because now we are expecting that you will do quite well. So we have expectation from your reports.
Yeah. You know, when you develop the skills, we're going through it. We're like, okay, this is fine. This is fine. The second time, it's fine. Third time, nah. But no, yeah, congratulations on winning the challenge. And like I mentioned, there were 3 other submissions. In LinkedIn, you can actually see their placements as well. But so the 3 other submissions that we had was one from Brian. So this was another one. Then we had a submission from Valid. And we had another submission from Crystal.
Oh, yeah, my ambassador again.
There we go. But yeah, there were certain things, reasons, and explanations why we didn't go with the top 5 this month. But these 3 were relatively close to each other, so we kind of wanted to also keep the second top 3, let's put it like that. So 4th, 6th.
Yeah, a little bit of, to Crystal. For everybody to know, she started working with Chandu Chapra Godley. Okay, she's gonna be a content analyst for them regarding. So congratulations! From the very first time she came to be an ambassador with the Challenges Group, she has been very, very determined, hardworking. Hey, everything pay off when you work this hard. Congratulations!
Yeah, she's definitely a busy bee.
Yeah, she is. Little thing.
Absolutely. But yeah, so the winner was Nina. These were 3 additional submissions that we wanted to showcase quickly. The main thing that I wanted to say is thanks for everyone who participated. Definitely, I mean, kind of that it's going to be the end of the year, so it's always a little bit trickier, right? It's the holiday seasons and everything, but we're still happy with the results. One thing that I personally wanted to do very quickly is, Erik, massive thanks to you for joining us.
Thank you, Erik.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, from my side, I just hope it was fun.
Absolutely.
There we go. But yeah, for you guys, for the next challenge is going to go live soon as well. So make sure you participate. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out. And don't forget to join the workshops where we actually talk about the data set, some of the visuals and everything. My recommendation is don't leave everything till the very last moment. I know it usually happens still, but the quicker you start to work on it, the better you can prepare.
Neither deliver the report in the first week. You have a month
Yeah.
You have 30 days. Don't leave it to the last week. Don't finish in the first week. Okay, work with the 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you're gonna get quite a lot of these sayings about in the in the workshop, everything that people start asking questions and the rest.
And don't forget that when you submit the report, it's not your final submission, so you can rework your report. And whenever you do a submission, our team goes through it and gives you some additional feedback as to what are the things we think you should look into or weren't taken into account. So you can rework it, make it better, and then go with the final submission, right? But if you do it on the very last day, well, sorry guys, it's we're also human, so we can't do everything at the same time. But yeah, massive
Well,
thanks for everyone for joining. Erik, thanks for joining
Erik,
as well.
thank you very much for joining. We might call upon you another time when we had run off for everybody and we have to start recalling back people that are already were judges. So please, you are welcome to come back anytime.
It was fun. And thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Aivis. Bye-bye now.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Amazing rest of the year.
Bye.
It's just started, so
Bye.
I'll see you in a lot of different challenges.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.